King Charles has been diagnosed with cancer and will be stepping back from
media. They're not responsible to be making public statements every 2 weeks on a member of the
King Charles has been diagnosed with cancer and will be stepping back from public-facing duties.
Breaking news to bring you now. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has announced she has cancer.
The first 100 days of 2024 have been devastating for the monarchy.
We saw the royal family hit by crisis after crisis.
The King and the Princess battling cancer.
I have been most deeply touched by your wonderfully kind and thoughtful good wishes.
The cracks and the weaknesses have been exposed because you've got two key members of the family down.
A stricken prince torn between family and duty.
William, understandably, is going through an incredibly difficult time with all of this as well.
The fact that William lost his mother as a child will have had a considerable impact on the way he chose to handle his wife's serious medical condition.
And old fractures resurfaced.
Diana Memorial Day was an absolute disaster.
Neither brother even referenced the other one.
How bad are things between them?
With a depleted monarchy, the House of Windsor is navigating uncharted waters.
It's been a storm, it's been unprecedented and unsettling and destabilising.
Dealing with family tragedies. Under intense public scrutiny.
We have to remember there is a woman, a mother, a wife behind all of this. It's been really tough for her.
100 days have rocked the royals to their core. Will they ever be the same again?
How much more can this family take?
On Friday the 22nd of March, from the gardens of Windsor, the Princess of Wales sent a thunderbolt that shook the world.
It was a message unlike any before from the Princess of Wales. Sitting in the spring gardens of Windsor, she revealed to the world that she's receiving treatment for cancer.
This, of course, came as a huge shock. And William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family. We hope that you'll understand that as a family, we now need some time, space, and privacy while I complete my treatment.
Eventually, after the many weeks of the conspiracy theories and the speculation, the Princess of Wales explained why she had been out of the public spotlight for so long. She explained that she had told the news to her children, to George, to Charlotte and Louis, and really did ask the public to just respect their need for privacy.
We very rarely hear Catherine speak, and this was profound. It must have been incredibly difficult for her, but she was very impressive in her openness, her candour, and her delivery.
Catherine's announcement was the most shocking in a torrent of tragic events that hit the royals.
Both resilience and vulnerability have been visible over the last few months. Vulnerability in the illnesses that have afflicted key members, and resilience in the way that the family have kept going. Others might have been tempted to sort of roll up the show and say, no, we're not performing, we're not going to go out there, you'll just have to manage without us. But they keep going. I mean, that is what monarchy does. It just sort of pushes on through.
To understand how dark and turbulent this period has been, we must return to the coronation on the 6th of May, 2023. When Charles stood proudly, flanked by family, before a global audience of 400 million. Charles ascended the throne with anticipation and optimism.
When you think back to almost a year today, the coronation, the sun was shining on the new reign. King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince of Wales, a radiant Princess of Wales, the three children.
There was a lot of optimism in the air. There was a real sense of having got past the grief of losing the Queen and feeling quite grateful to have a new monarch and have this new energy around him, feeling good about it. Let's see what Charles does on the throne.
But the bright future had storm clouds on the horizon.
A year on, it feels very, very shaky.
Just 1 month into the new year, the royal family's world was turned upside down. In late January, the King entered the London clinic to have treatment for an enlarged prostate, a health issue he'd chosen to share with the public.
He was very open, and the reason, he said, was because he wants to encourage other men to get their prostate checked.
It was quite deliberate to talk about his prostate because it is known that men are bad at checking their prostate and that doing so can lengthen lives in a lot of cases. That was a very good thing to do, and the public responded to it very warmly.
The King was being lauded and applauded for his honesty, and actually we saw an incredible impact. We saw men going onto the NHS websites, traffic going up by hundreds of % as a direct result of King Charles's honesty about his own issues.
But within 10 days, the palace made a shocking announcement.
We come on air tonight with some important news about the health of the King. Buckingham Palace has just announced that King Charles has been diagnosed with cancer.
In a statement, the palace said, during the King's recent hospital procedure, tests have identified a form of cancer. He has been advised by doctors to postpone public-facing duties.
This, of course, sent huge shockwaves around the world. This was only a matter of 9 or so months after the coronation, and suddenly he was out of action, and questions were starting to be asked. Could we rely on a man who was in his mid-70s to be head of state? Did he have it in him? Was he going to survive cancer?
In a style that set him apart from his parents' generation, Charles shared his cancer diagnosis with the public.
There's been a complete sea change in the way the royals are prepared to discuss their medical issues when we compare it with, say, Queen Elizabeth and particularly Prince Philip. King Charles has obviously been much more open. Everyone's a citizen journalist now. They've got a camera phone, and people are inclined to put up gossip about the royals all the time. And I think there's an attempt to sort of recognise that and sort of head it off and be ahead of the game, if you like.
Although specifics about the type of cancer Charles had were held back.
The public is so used to a 24-hour news cycle, that they want quick answers, rapid response. That can't always happen.
Once Charles revealed his news to the world, his role as a father was put in the spotlight. His youngest son, Harry, was thousands of miles away.
And of course, at that time, it also brought into contrast, where's Harry?
He was obviously very, very concerned when he got the call from Charles telling him that he had cancer. Harry was on the first flight and there to see his father.
But his urgent visit was surprisingly brief.
People wanted to see, I believe, that Harry and Charles were beginning to patch things up. But I think there was disappointment at the brevity of his visit. The actual meeting that Harry and Charles had was about 45 minutes before Charles took a helicopter trip back to Norfolk.
Rather than dwell on his bad news, Charles was soldiering on.
The Prime Minister, Your Majesty.
Good evening, Your Majesty. Very nice to see you. And wonderful. Yeah. Well, yeah, a bit, but wonderful. Wonderful to see you looking so well.
Yeah, it's all done by mirrors.
He wanted to have his chance on the throne. It wasn't just a want, it was a duty. It was his birthright. The idea that he was going to abdicate and allow William to leapfrog him to the throne. For Charles, that would be a breach of the vows that he made. He will serve for his whole life, echoing the pledge that his mother also made.
It was characteristic of the king, who takes his public duty more important than probably anyone in the royal family. He is the embodiment of the monarchy, and he wants to put his foot down and continue with reigning.
In recent weeks, I have been most deeply touched by your wonderfully kind and thoughtful good wishes for my health, and in return, can only continue to serve you to the best of my ability.
Three weeks later, as the royal family absorbed the distressing news about Charles, they were struck yet again by tragedy beyond their control. Thomas Kingston was found dead.
He's always been a much-loved and close member of the royal family. He was the husband of Lady Gabriella Windsor, the daughter of Prince and Princess Michael of Kent. He would have been a regular at royal family gatherings.
The body of the 45-year-old was discovered at his parents' home with a traumatic head wound and a gun nearby.
His death has come as an absolute shock and trauma for the royal family. Obviously, it's a time when there's a huge amount going on.
Tom Kingston's tragic death and King Charles's cancer would be enough to rock most families to the core. But another illness had also hit the royals, with the Princess of Wales admitted to hospital, setting off a chain of events that would put the royal family under immense pressure and scrutiny that they hadn't experienced for a generation.
These are absolutely unprecedented times. We've not only got the King taking a leave of absence on restricted duties, now we have the Princess of Wales, and not knowing when she's going to be back, they wanted to keep that private for as long as they could. And we now know that this family was fighting a very private, personal battle.
On the 5th of February, King Charles broke the news of his cancer diagnosis to the world.
They did not disclose where it was located, nor how far it has spread, only that it's not prostate cancer and that he is stepping back from public duties for now.
But just 6 weeks into the year, he was already the second senior royal forced from the public stage, putting Charles's vision of a leaner, cheaper royal family in jeopardy.
The last time we saw the family all together was at Sandringham on Christmas Day. We haven't seen the Princess of Wales since Christmas Day.
On Wednesday, the 17th of January, Kensington Palace announced that the Princess of Wales had been admitted to the same hospital as King Charles.
They said she'd undergone abdominal surgery. They didn't say for what. They said that she would be off work, effectively, out of the public eye until Easter.
Now we know that the King was toodling down the hall to see the Princess of Wales during the afternoons. And it's a great image, isn't it? When you think about any other family in that same position, you would have wanted to see a familiar face. And we know that the King and the Princess of Wales have an incredible bond.
The palace said the princess would remain in hospital for 10 to 14 days, sparking curiosity and concern.
My goodness, 10 to 14 nights in hospital in 2024 is a long time. I mean, you can push out a baby and you're home the next day. You can have an emergency cesarean section under a general anaesthetic and you'll be home in under a week. So what happened that requires such a long hospital stay?
The princess appealed for privacy, saying she wished to maintain as much normality for her children as possible.
There's a certain weight that comes with that title. There's a sense of responsibility, of course a sense of privilege, but that also means that people want more of you.
So we have two senior royals having health issues at the same time. The King being pretty open about it.
How are you feeling?
Contrast that to Kate simply disappearing from the public eye.
They think she's entitled to her privacy, but the royal family is revealing some details and not others, and I think it's the inconsistency with that that means people feel entitled to information that they were never really entitled to begin with.
What is it? What is she suffering from? If the King can tell us, why can't she?
But now we know that there were other things at play, and they wanted to keep that private for as long as they could.
With unanswered questions hanging in the air, the royals were under scrutiny, and in the absence of any news about Kate, people began to speculate.
The conspiracy theories, which have been dubbed Kate-spiracy theories, the absence of this world-famous woman from our screens, from our newspapers, from our social media feeds for so long allowed it to develop. It's all been too tempting a vortex not to get sucked into, but it's a dangerous vortex to get sucked into.
There was this a ridiculous story in Spain by actually quite a respected Spanish journalist, a really well-respected journalist, saying that she's got from a palace source information that the Princess of Wales was put in an induced coma due to complications from her surgery. Her situation was very serious, and much more serious than perhaps we were led to believe.
Los médicos tuvieron que tomar una decisión bastante drástica en ese momento, debido a esas complicaciones, y la decisión fue inducirla a un coma.
That was a very, very serious and damaging and totally irresponsible claim.
She said this on television, it was printed in newspapers and all across Europe.
As this story about the princess being in a coma spread like wildfire across the internet, the palace issued a furious rebuttal.
And you saw them really very angry over such a hurtful and such an irresponsible claim.
But on social media, the hashtag #WhereIsKate was already trending.
I don't pay attention to the royal family, right? But like, I read the news. Read some big headlines on Twitter, and there is an insane rabbit hole of people who have so many conspiracies about Kate Middleton. I need to talk about it. Not saying I believe it, but I need to talk about what people are saying because it's so wild.
Nearly a month later, the royal family were trying to continue with life as normally as possible. But then came an event that changed everything.
The Constantine Memorial was a step change.
There was this royally speaking, star-studded event, all members of the royal family turning up, apart from those who weren't able to. Of course, no king undergoing treatment for cancer, no Princess of Wales recuperating at home following her abdominal surgery. So leading the pack was meant to be Camilla and Prince William, the Prince of Wales.
William, at the last moment, pulled out of his godfather's memorial service.
Highly unusual. Royals like to very much stick to routine and don't like letting people down. And William was due to read one of the lessons, so he was a key figure at the service.
William really was going to be head of the family, leading the royals into St George's. With an hour, 45 minutes to go, we were all stood in Windsor Castle. We got messages saying that William's not going to come, citing only a personal matter.
And actually, I think that was the moment that set the fox running as far as conspiracy theories around what was going on with Kate and William.
The rumour mill went into overdrive.
Inevitably, him not saying why caused, sort of supercharged all the theories online. Was it to do with his wife? Was it to do with something else? Was it to do with his father, suddenly a lot more ill than we thought? Was it to do... No one knew, and Kensington Palace wouldn't be drawn.
And of course, that vacuum of information, I think, did create a massive hullabaloo with people coming up with all sorts of crazy conspiracy theories, and the hashtag Where's Kate, which seemed to go around the world, and that started to breed suspicion and conspiracy theories and wild stories about where Kate is and what she's actually doing and how serious was her health condition and so on.
With the benefit of hindsight, a lot of what was said was undoubtedly hurtful and in some cases downright cruel and totally inaccurate. But that is what happens when you get a vacuum.
Caught in the middle of this furore was Prince William.
William, understandably, is going through an incredibly difficult time with all of this as well. This is his wife who is being hounded by the media, by social media. Everyone wants to know what's going on and is speculating wildly. You know, theories that involve him as well. That is not going to be easy for anyone, but particularly not for someone who lost their mother under the circumstances that he did.
I feel for William because he's been put in a very difficult position and he wants to put his young family first.
With William torn between duty and family and King Charles absent, somebody had to represent the crown. In this difficult moment, an unlikely member of the family stepped forward.
The king has given his wife the status of being queen, and that means that she is now his main substitute at events.
I think the metamorphosis of Camilla Parker Bowles, as she then was, to Queen Camilla is nothing short of remarkable. I mean, the idea that the reviled mistress blamed for the breakdown of the Wales' marriage, the woman who perhaps threatened to undermine the entire monarchy, the idea that now she is the one saving the monarchy, she is driving it forwards. She is there front and centre, both of family engagements, public engagements. I mean, she is bearing the weight of the crown.
Since Charles's cancer diagnosis, Camilla has carried out over 13 official engagements.
One thing one has to understand about Queen Camilla is that she only came into public life comparatively late in life. She only became queen when she was, 75 years old. And in the absence of the king, William only working part-time, a huge amount of responsibility fell on Camilla's shoulders. And it's exhausting.
She's doing engagements up and down the country, and obviously wherever she's going, people are asking her about the King and about the Princess of Wales, and that must be a lot of pressure for her. We saw her take a week off at the beginning of March, and everyone was like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do without Queen Camilla?
As Camilla disappeared to hunt partridges on a private estate in the Spanish mountains, Charles's long-held vision of a slimmed-down monarchy was beginning to look like a misstep.
Well, the royal family was obviously looking pretty threadbare.
She did extremely well in those early weeks, but the pressure began to tell, and, she needed a break. Nobody begrudged her those few days she spent in Spain. But once again, it exposed the institution.
And on Monday, the 4th of March, the day after Queen Camilla left the country, another difficult moment for the royal family.
Frankly, there are some wild conspiracy theories around about the Princess of Wales at the moment, and it was all rather complicated even further by the publication of a paparazzi photograph of her inside a car with her mother.
That image went round the world on social media. However, if you were buying a newspaper over here in Britain, you wouldn't have seen that picture, and that is because the newspaper editors are still bound to an agreement with the palace that came into place after the death of Princess Diana, that they will not take intrusive paparazzi pictures of members of the royal family.
That photograph was pored over. People were saying it wasn't Kate's face, it was the wrong shape. This was a body double. Maybe it wasn't even Carol Middleton. It was a look-alike for her as well. It just went even crazier at that point.
About a week ago, I made this video that absolutely blew up. Seems the internet will never be satisfied and there will be conspiracies everywhere. And yeah, I guess believe the conspiracies if you want, or don't. I just think this is so interesting. What do you think, y'all? Body double or Kate?
And things showed no sign of calming down. Even when Kensington Palace tried to pour water on the flames of online trolls.
Suddenly, anyone who wasn't invested before is now very invested. Ultimately, I think we need to remember, regardless of what's going on online and what people are joking about, there is a real human person at the center of this story.
The 5th of March, a day after an unauthorized paparazzi photo of the Princess of Wales is published in some international media outlets, the unwanted attention continues to build momentum. Social media posts skyrocketed. And even one of America's most popular TV comedy programs was asking the question that had captured the nation.
State of the Union on Thursday, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Is there something else you're planning on covering here? Where is Kate Middleton? Where are you, Kate? Some people
These conspiracy theories weren't just happening on social media. We then saw them played out on the mainstream media on US television. Huge talk show hosts talking about the royal family's private business, allegations of their whereabouts, their relationships. It was pretty unsavory. And people at the palace were saying, do people not realise that they are humans too? They have feelings, they know they're public figures, but, you know, they're not immune to all of this going on.
So you have a huge pressure on Kate and those around her to keep the public informed about what's going on, even though they have publicly and definitively said, this is all the information you're going to get. She's out of action, she won't be back until Easter.
Online, individuals clamoured for information and posited their own theories.
If you have been wondering why Kate Middleton's alleged disappearance has been all over the news, TikTok, Twitter,
we have a Kate Middleton update. So many people were talking about it. So many people were coming up with their own ideas. I mean, they were wild. But it doesn't end there. The conspiracies actually start blowing up again.
Since January, 276,000 articles have been written using the words Kate Middleton.
As the hashtag #WhereIsKate took over the internet, global celebrities jumped on the bandwagon.
When Kim Kardashian, who has 364 million followers, posted, "On my way to find Kate," that is feeding a huge audience on social media. That is the power of an influencer like Kim Kardashian.
The mainstream media started to report what was being said on social media, and suddenly the palace couldn't control it anymore.
As if the palace losing control of the narrative wasn't enough, in early March, a member of Catherine's own family added his voice to the cacophony.
When you have a vacuum within the royal world, when you've got no Prince William, no Princess Kate, you've got not much of King Charles, inevitably other things are going to fill the vacuum, and Gary Goldsmith, Kate's uncle, was one of those.
Gary Goldsmith was appearing in Celebrity Big Brother, where he casually discussed his niece's private life.
Can I ask you a question? Where's Kate?
So because she doesn't want to talk about it,
We can't talk about it.
there's the kind of code of etiquette. I spoke to her mum, my sister. She's getting the best care in the world. And all the family's done is put the wagons around and look after family first before anything else.
It was a ballsy choice to have Gary Goldsmith on because he pleaded guilty to assaulting his fourth and still current wife. He's not exactly the face of royalty that anybody would want to promote. So I think it was slightly tricky for brand William and Catherine to have him speaking effectively on her behalf because Kensington Palace was entirely silent.
Under intense pressure, the silence at Kensington Palace was finally broken on Mother's Day.
Kensington Palace released a photo of Kate and her 3 children this morning to mark Mother's Day.
I think by the time the Mother's Day photo dropped, the intrigue and the speculation had already gone beyond that which anyone would ever have anticipated. Everyone was invested in this big question of where is Kate? So for the royal family to answer that question by dropping that photo, they knew that that was going to get a lot of attention. And it did.
The fact that there were so many wild rumours circulating on the internet. You know, I had calls from American journalists asking if she was actually alive. And that sort of level of scrutiny, when it gathers momentum online, you can't avoid it. And I think the Mother's Day photograph was a knee-jerk reaction, and that's unusual for the palace and very unusual for the couple.
As soon as the photo was posted online, it was pored over by social media users.
Here's a closer look at the photo. It seems like a sweet photo, right? But when you zoom in and look at a couple details, things start to look a little weird.
But the following morning, in a jaw-dropping intervention, global news agencies pulled the photo from circulation, issuing a kill notice, telling clients not to use it because it had been manipulated.
To issue a kill notice against a photograph that was issued by the Prince and Princess of Wales is outrageous.
The discrepancies in the image, with the area around the sleeve and left hand of Princess Charlotte, and an unusually straight line on the edge of her skirt, the zip on Kate's jacket, and a horizontal line across her front, and Kate's blurred hand on Louis's in-focus jumper, as well as a misaligned pattern on Louis's shoulder.
This photograph created so many problems for the royal family. It destroyed so much trust.
If you don't have trust, you don't have a relationship between the royal family and the public.
In trying to quell the controversy, things only got worse. And a woman we now know was dealing with a cancer diagnosis was forced to issue an apology.
I feel so sorry for Kate. I feel so sorry for her. Most of us with young kids, it's a nightmare trying to take a family picture.
We've become used to Kate taking photographs of her family. I mean, she broke the mold with that. She sort of pushed the royal photographers actually out of a job by starting to take these wonderful, charming images of her children herself, because frankly, she got better images because the children were responding to their mother behind the lens. My understanding from the palace was that the adjustments that were made to that Mother's Day picture were minor adjustments, not the sort of replacing images and cutting new images in or potentially replacing the Princess of Wales because she wasn't in the picture. That simply wasn't the case.
I think the best thing would have been, this is my private time, I'm protecting myself, my children and my husband. Somebody advised her very badly.
I found it personally quite odd that Kate was the one that issued a statement taking responsibility for editing the photograph when we know that William took that photograph. We know that Kate hasn't been very well. Why is Kate editing a photograph? Why is it that William has to stay quiet in his own suffering? Were we to get a little more from anyone in the royal family about how they're dealing with this, it would quell the speculation. But because we're getting nothing, there is just a vacuum that people are desperate to fill with absolutely bonkers conspiracy theories and conjecture and rumours and gossip.
Unfortunately, the Mother's Day photo kept the spotlight firmly on the Princess of Wales, the polar opposite of its intended purpose.
I think what people were so desperate for in this vacuum of information is quote-unquote proof of life. They want to see the Princess of Wales as she is now, not necessarily in a photoshopped picture. They want to see her in real time.
Within a week, they got their wish.
Oh my gosh, it's them. We see the two of them walking out. She's carrying some bags, look very happy, very relaxed.
On the 17th of March, a member of the public filmed Catherine and William on a visit to a farm shop in Windsor.
This is the perfect video of her. It should put to bed all of these rumours. The problem is that there's a section of society that are too far gone and will not believe anything that they are told now.
It seemed the princess could do nothing right in the eyes of a sceptical public. But on the 19th of March, it was revealed some people's skepticism had crossed a line into potential criminality.
I discovered that 3 people at the London clinic allegedly tried to access the Princess of Wales's private medical records after she had been discharged from the London clinic. It was a huge issue for the royal family, and allegations potentially of blackmail. What was the purpose of these people trying to access her private medical records?
In response, the London clinic said if there was any breach, all appropriate investigatory, regulatory and disciplinary steps will be taken.
I think the story blew up around the world because people were so reviled that that could have happened at her darkest hour, her weakest moment. I think that people thought that this is a time where everybody really needs to back off and treat the Princess of Wales with the respect that she deserves.
This appears to have been the final straw. Backed into a corner and under intense pressure, the Princess of Wales shared some tragic news.
We've got some major breaking news to bring you now. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has announced she has cancer.
It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family. It has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay.
Well, eventually, after the many weeks of the conspiracy theories and the speculation, the Princess of Wales did address an international audience in an unprecedented video message in which she explained why she had been out of the public spotlight for so long. She used this as a moment to really appeal for privacy for her family. She also used it as a real message of hope for anyone that was going through cancer, not to give up hope.
Catherine's announcement put an end to the speculation and cast the events of the previous 3 months in a new, more sombre light.
In the wake of the Princess of Wales's heartbreaking statement, I think a lot of people saw this as one of the turning points, not only in their own behaviour, but how we were behaving as a society, contemplating or discussing somebody's private medical history when we had absolutely no business to do that. I think there's a lot of people who need to take a long, hard look at their conduct, not only on social media, whether it's celebrities or people who've been buying into conspiracy theories, but some of the mainstream media as well.
Where's Kate? I think that hashtag looks pretty pathetic now. Yes, it's the royal family, she's the Princess of Wales, the most photographed famous woman on the planet, but she's still a human like the rest of us.
Despite all the gossip, rumour, innuendo on social media, I think the royal family have been pretty honest. Now we know that things were happening in the background. So there is the argument of what more could they do? They're not slaves to the people who are commenting on social media. They're not responsible to be making public statements every 2 weeks on a member of the royal family's health.
Who knows what the likes of Kim Kardashian will make of the news, but I think, you know, everyone that's posted on social media, everyone that's fueled that conspiracy theory, might just be a moment to pause for reflection. Clearly, the pressure that the princess must have felt going through what she knew she was going through must have been incredibly difficult for her.
The princess's terrible news drew to a close one of the most difficult periods the royal family has faced in recent years. But all the while, it was rumbling on. Old wounds were also reopening, only adding to a turbulent 100 days.
There had been signs that the relationship between Harry and his father had thawed a bit, but certainly the relationship between Harry and William was still rock bottom.
The first 100 days of 2024 had been a terrible time for the royal family.
I think most people looking forward to 2024 would have assumed that this was going to be a year of consolidation, a year where the king was probably going to get his feet under the table. The rest of the royal family would be supporting him in his new duty as head of state. Of course, that couldn't have been further from the reality. We saw the royal family hit by crisis after crisis.
Have the tragedies and challenges of the past few months shone a harsh light on Charles's vision for what became known as a slimmed-down monarchy?
It's been an idea of the king's for many, many years, long before he came to the throne.
In 2012, while still Prince of Wales, Charles discussed plans to shrink the size of the working contingent of the royal family.
It was rapidly clear from when Charles took over that he was going to follow through with this, and he established a core network of working royals. There are various reasons for this. Money was one of them, cost. People complained about the sort of bloated size of the royal family, assuming that they were all on the public payroll, and also this idea that it looked slightly old-fashioned and antediluvian.
Charles's plan was mostly lauded, but against the backdrop of a tumultuous 3 months, has his idea for a slimmed-down monarchy exposed a serious issue? One of his own doing.
When you have the only members of the working royals under 45 as Kate and William, and the next generation down is still at primary school, that's a real problem.
The monarchy's got itself in a real hole over this whole business of slimming down. There is a huge absence of people to whom the monarchy can turn to. What has happened in these last few weeks does rather illustrate that it may not be a sustainable policy for the long term.
Even before illnesses ruled major royals out of action, the public had been seeing less of them. 5 years ago, there was a large team of royals covering over 3,500 engagements a year. Since then, the number of public visits has dropped by a third.
Will there simply, in the years ahead, be enough royals to go round to do what the royal family have traditionally done? In my experience, there just won't be. Will the king have to readjust? Will he have to bring others in? And if he does, who might they be?
Could the prince across the pond be in line for a comeback? 4 years after sensationally quitting royal life, reports suggest it's a possibility.
He is fifth in line to the throne after William, George, Charlotte and Louis. But it's too problematic to have Harry do that because he's not a working royal.
He's still William's brother. He's still Charles's son. He may not be getting along with any of them very well. He may no longer be doing royal engagements, but he's still there. Whatever people may think about Harry, he's not going to go away.
Family fallouts are commonplace, but none happen quite so publicly as when Prince Harry left the royal fold. And this family feud means a key member is now not available.
He did the documentary with Meghan. They'd done the interview with Oprah. Harry wrote his book. The Oprah interview in particular was probably quite a necessary thing for the public to hear. I think we needed to understand why they had left the royal family and why they had moved to America. I think they could have left it there and it would have been really powerful, and that could have been that.
Another issue facing the family in the last few months is the ongoing tension between Harry and his brother William. On the day of the Diana Legacy Awards in London, a week before Catherine's cancer announcement, rumours of a rift between the brothers intensified again.
The distance between Prince William and Prince Harry could not be much more marked than it has been tonight at a ceremony remembering their mother, Princess Diana. William was there in person this evening. Harry will only join by video link later tonight, mid-afternoon Californian time, after William has left the building.
The Diana Legacy Awards is really the only way for Prince William and Prince Harry to continue to remind the world of the woman they knew. She was their mom, and to them, she was magic.
The charity set up to reflect my mother's belief that young people can change the world.
Prince William gave a speech much earlier on in the evening and then left so that he wouldn't be present when Prince Harry, down the line from Montecito in California, gave his address to award winners. Neither brother even referenced the other one.
No one forced them to behave in that way, but in behaving in that way, they clearly have generated a lot of public interest and a lot of speculation about their relationships.
We underestimate the impact of losing a parent so young, because if it's not something that you've personally experienced, you don't understand how much that changes and shapes your worldview moving forward. If they can't even come together to celebrate the legacy of their mother, if they can't put their own issues aside for that one cause, you know, then how bad are things between them?
The day of the awards also saw another long-departed royal back in the spotlight.
As if William and Harry contributing to this event wasn't enough to focus on, up pops a contribution from California.
Meghan, Duchess of Sussex.
On a night when, we were all sort of thinking about Princess Diana and her legacy, it should be on this particular moment that Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, should launch her latest business idea.
After a 4-year absence, Meghan returned to Instagram to announce American Riviera Orchard, her new lifestyle brand.
The name American Riviera Orchard doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. We see some baking and a ball gown. The timing of the launch raised a few eyebrows in some corners of the palace tonight.
Launching an Instagram account when you have not been on social media for 4 years, on the day of the Diana Award, why are you trying to steal some of that attention, which is what it feels like.
These are two young men that are remembering their deceased mother, who is a global icon. I think anybody in their right mind would say, let's just press pause, let's do it tomorrow.
As I understand it, a British journalist from the Daily Mail found out about her return to Instagram, and they were going to publish it in the UK. And she hit go on the Instagram page and launched her brand before an English tabloid could do it for her.
Meghan's new brand is said to reflect everything she loves, with aims of selling cutlery, cookbooks, and food condiments, such as nut butter.
This is a business. It's a capitalist endeavor. It's something to make money. It kind of seems to be projecting this American suburban utopia.
What we're seeing with Meghan Markle today is Meghan being Meghan before Harry. Welcome to American Riviera Orchard. Please buy my tea set.
The criticism levied at Meghan following the website launch opened old wounds from her time within the monarchy. After her fairy tale marriage to Prince Harry in 2018, Meghan's royal duties were marred by negative publicity and alleged abuse and harassment from some of the British media.
Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, has talked about how she thought about ending her own life over her time in the royal family and the abuse and the treatment that she has received. She felt absolutely terrible being in the royal family and being subjected to that abuse. And I think now we're in a situation where we don't want the Princess of Wales to feel that in any way, shape or form. We want no one to feel that way. But the difference now is that with the Princess of Wales, we now have people calling for kindness and calling for calm and let her recuperate and recover.
With the monarchy in a state of unease, many have asked the question of whether Harry and Meghan could return on a more permanent basis to support their family.
It was Queen Elizabeth who ultimately said, it's now half in, half out. I did wonder whether Charles might have changed tack and might have had a different spin on that.
Harry and Meghan's self-imposed exile from the family is a real shame because they really could have done with the reinforcements at a time like this. Wouldn't it have been great if Harry and Meghan were there being the shining light in the centre of the institution right about now?
However, any sort of return appears increasingly unlikely after a High Court ruling in February.
Harry took the Home Office to court, claiming it had acted unlawfully in downgrading his security after he left the royal family. Today, however, a High Court judge was having none of it.
Prince Harry will definitely be bitterly disappointed and a bit humiliated about the court decision to not give him royal protection when he is here in the UK. We know that when he stepped back as a working royal, that protection was taken away.
People who go out on public engagements or who are working royals, they will get public protection. Harry is not in that category and therefore doesn't get public protection, or rather has to pay for his own protection. And one can see from the taxpayer's point of view that that's quite important.
If Meghan is coming over to Christmas shop, I wouldn't want to pay for her security either. If Meghan is coming over to support the British royal family, it's a no-brainer. They're going to get royal protection. They're going to be protected in the way that they deem necessary.
Because the country is so divided about him and his wife, and because so much hatred has been beaten up like war drums against them, I don't think they are safe in this country. And I completely understand that they want security. Maybe the best thing would be for them not to come here.
But the fallout with his own family continues to rumble on. After reports suggested, Harry discovered the news of Catherine's cancer diagnosis at the same time as the rest of the public.
Prince Harry and Meghan were told, along with the rest of the world, about Kate's cancer diagnosis. The fact that Prince William didn't want Prince Harry to know his own brother about something so personal tells you an awful lot about the fractiousness within this family.
The hope will be that Harry and William will find some level of reconciliation long before it's William's time to be king. William's focus is on Kate, rather than healing any rift with his brother, and Kate's focus is on getting herself better.
Prince Harry isn't the only royal outsider suggested to fill the void left by the tragedies of the last few months. Another prince, who's made headlines of his own over the years, is back under the microscope. But would welcoming Andrew back into the fold be a help or a hindrance?
We do have Prince Andrew taking a lead role, which is incredibly strange to see, given everything that has happened to Prince Andrew in the last few years. Why is that man front and centre in this memorial?
Following crises and illness, the royal family has been running out of recognisable figures to lead the line. It appeared that King Charles's plan for a slimmed-down monarchy had come to haunt him. But some of the difficulties facing the king have been largely out of his control.
We wouldn't be having these discussions were it not for the absence of Charles and Catherine, because they are so central to everything. And take them away, take William away, and he's only been doing duties part-time, suddenly the monarchy began to look threadbare. He had lost his son, Harry. He had lost, because of disgrace, Prince Andrew.
In its hour of crisis, the monarchy should be able to turn to a senior figure like Prince Andrew. Instead, he remained stripped of royal duties following his friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Prince Andrew's become the laughingstock of the royal family. The death of Epstein in jail a couple of years ago has not stopped all of the allegations against him, and in particular, the allegations of Virginia Giuffre, who in America sued Prince Andrew effectively for sexual assault. The case was settled privately in 2022.
Following the settlement, in which he did not expressly admit any liability, Prince Andrew said he regretted his association with Jeffrey Epstein and commended the bravery of Virginia Giuffre. He has always claimed his innocence, but Prince Andrew's public image was in tatters.
Andrew is seen as simply too toxic a figure to be allowed to resume royal work. Andrew can't seem to shake off the legacy of his past.
And as March continued, King Charles was reminded that his younger brother's decisions will not simply be consigned to the past.
The allegations surrounding Jeffrey Epstein include his friend Prince Andrew.
Netflix released the trailer for its latest glossy, big-budget drama based on the British royal family.
Your Royal Highness.
Starring Gillian Anderson, Rufus Sewell and Billie Piper, Scoop is a dramatic retelling about one of the most talked-about interviews in recent decades.
This interview, does it matter?
Yeah, it matters.
Scoop is the new, eagerly awaited Netflix drama based on the now infamous Newsnight interview with the Duke of York. The interview which, of course, was the undoing of Prince Andrew. The interview, as most royal interviews do, ended up spectacularly backfiring on the Duke.
Within 24 hours, the highly anticipated trailer had been viewed hundreds of thousands of times. Scoop is now streaming in millions of homes worldwide. And another 3-part series from Amazon Studios about Prince Andrew is also in production.
The royal family understand that they are public figures. They know there's going to be interest in their personal lives. But the fact that we've seen in recent years this soap opera element being played out of the crisis that they're involved in, it's been particularly hurtful for senior members of the royal family to watch their private lives being played out so publicly.
It's deeply problematic. In the same way that The Crown was, in the same way that The Crown revisited very difficult times for the royal family, which keeps thrusting it back into the public consciousness. And of course, this is exactly what's going to happen with Prince Andrew.
We're going to be reminded of that disastrous interview in which Prince Andrew famously said that Jeffrey Epstein was rather unbecoming, to which Emily Maitlis brilliantly responded.
Unbecoming? He was a sex offender.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm being polite, in the sense that he was a sex offender.
He hasn't been convicted of a crime. He denies the allegations. But Jeffrey Epstein has really a reputation for being a disgusting man. And the Prince Andrew story doesn't just die with age, because within the next 12 months, there are 2 productions, scripted productions coming up that are going to remind the world that Prince Andrew is a stain on the royal family.
Second son syndrome for the royal family has had haunting moments down the years. I do suspect the royal family will have a more robust way of handling heirs and spares in the next generation.
Following the controversy in 2019, Queen Elizabeth decided that her second eldest son would no longer work for the firm. But today, with so few senior members to fly the royal flag, could Prince Andrew be welcomed back into the fold?
He was stripped of his royal duties, he was stripped of his military duties, his patronages. He was essentially ostracised from royal life. But more recently, he has been seen back in the royal fold, and I think that's very confusing for the public.
They're short of recognisable figures. If he's not going to be cast into outer darkness, he might as well be put to work. Nothing has actually been proven against him about his behaviour, and to a certain extent, innocent unless proven guilty, I think, has to stand.
At the memorial service in February for King Constantine, Prince Andrew's second cousin, the Duke of York appeared front and centre.
The memorial of King Constantine was a private affair. Unfortunately, when it comes to the monarchy, there is a very thin line between private and public. And it was interesting that we saw him at the memorial quite prominently. And that indeed sort of seemed to suggest a kind of possible rehabilitation of Andrew.
There is a distinction here. He is still a part of the royal family. He is still, therefore, welcomed and entitled to be at private family events, such as the memorial service. He is still the King's brother. He's still Prince William's uncle. He hasn't been ostracised from the family as such, but he has essentially been booted out of public duties, which is why you didn't see him, for example, at events like the Commonwealth Day service.
Sure enough, 2 weeks later, Prince Andrew was absent from the Commonwealth Day celebrations at Westminster Abbey, in what was a formal working event for the monarchy.
When it came to King Constantine's memorial service, this was a private family memorial. The Commonwealth Day service was clearly not. Charles is not going to allow any association with Prince Andrew to spoil any political impact of the Commonwealth Day service. This is clear political messaging from the House of Windsor.
With the royal family stretched to their limits, some feel that Prince Andrew could have been relied upon to steady the ship. But his role within the family continues to be met with scrutiny and confusion at a time when his brother, King Charles, is bravely battling cancer.
Charles has been very clear in the way he has come down very strongly against Andrew, and that is very clear. Given Charles is being diagnosed with cancer and is temporarily off center stage, by default, Andrew might begin to come into the limelight. This would be, I think, premature and a mistake.
Whilst Prince Andrew remains in the spotlight, his much-loved former wife, Sarah Ferguson, also received terrible news. At the start of the year, she too was diagnosed with cancer.
In amongst the chaos of everything that's been going on with the royal family, we've had the Duchess of York not only having cancer once, but being diagnosed a second time within 6 months. But she's faced it with typical resilience.
Like King Charles and the Princess of Wales, Sarah Ferguson has been open about her treatment.
I think that really endears her to the public because people see her as a great survivor. They see her as someone who has gone through their troubles, yet she's still out there giving her best.
After 100 days of difficulties and tragedies, the whole of the royal family is under pressure. Can things return to normal? Or will they get worse?
I'd say this is a crisis in terms of communication for the royal family. It's a crisis in public perception, and it's a crisis for the future of the monarchy.
We've landed up in this sort of slightly rudderless position that we've got in terms of the lack of leadership, the royals and, Charles ill and who's doing what and is there any leadership and what do they all stand for? And if there's no leadership, if there's no one steering the ship, what are they there for and why are we giving them money? And that's a real problem.
And what does the future hold for King Charles after suffering so many setbacks early in his reign?
That has to be a big question. If we look 75 years ahead to the turn of the century, will there still be a monarchy? Not sure.
The past 3 months have been grueling for the royal family. How they cope in the face of great tragedy has been exposed to the public, examined and scrutinized all over the world. Cracks have appeared. So how will they move forward as a family and as a firm?
The last 3 months have been very difficult for the royal family. And I think overall, the royal family has handled it remarkably well. But the reality is they are vulnerable.
It's certainly been a storm. It's certainly been unprecedented and unsettling and destabilizing. Yes, while the monarchy does look frail and almost skeletal at the moment because of this whirlwind few months that has literally turned the institution on its head in a way that no one could have predicted, the monarchy bounces back. The show will go on. It always does.
And right on cue, the king was back to doing what he does best on Easter Sunday, meeting and greeting crowds of well-wishers. Charles also gave an announcement for Maundy Thursday 3 days earlier, though he did appear visibly frail in his official photograph.
It is my special prayer today that our Lord's example of serving one another might continue to inspire us and to strengthen all our communities. May God bless you all this Easter.
A royal tour of Australia has also been announced for later in the year.
While the king might not be returning to royal duties just yet, the fact that there are plans in place for him to take on a major tour of Australia is hugely significant. That is hugely positive for the king, for the country, and for the rest of the royal family.
Charles's daughter-in-law, however, will not be joining any royal engagements in the foreseeable future, following an outpouring of well-wishes after her cancer announcement. The Princess of Wales is expected to rest, recuperate, and spend time with her family.
Physically and mentally, she's been really, really under the cosh. And it must be very, very difficult to try and recover and still be a mum and still be a partner when you are in the public gaze. And she does take her job and her duty very, very seriously.
More than ever, the public wants a young woman in that royal family to cling on to and to hold on to and to represent them. There is a hope that it will be Kate. And I think now you have a lot more people invested in Kate than ever before. I certainly am.
There has been no information given from Kensington Palace as to when Catherine may return to public duty.
I'm not sure a time frame for the Princess of Wales to return actually matters, because we've seen her make this heartbreaking statement. She said herself she won't return to duties until she's fully able. Maybe it's time we take a step back and allow them to exist as a family and not only an institution.
Kate told the country, the world, about her diagnosis. There is now an expectation on all of us to give them a break, to get things back to normal. When she fully recovers, we'll be delighted to see her again. A lot of people will have their fingers crossed, hoping it'll be sooner rather than later.
The monarchy has overcome adversity before. If they're to do so again, every one of the core family will have a part to play in the months and years ahead.
The women within the royal family are ruling the roost. You have Queen Camilla, who is literally carrying the royal family on her shoulders. You have the Princess of Wales. Her popularity has not waned. People really, really rooting for her. And then finally, you've got Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, who is the hardest working royal.
To have two members of the royal family diagnosed with cancer and going through treatment is unprecedented. It does, of course, throw up huge questions for the future, but the line of succession is secure, the House of Windsor is secure, and the hope, of course, is that this treatment is successful and the King and the Princess of Wales will be able to return to work very soon.
The King will and does see his illness as an inconvenience. His main task, frankly, is to ensure that the monarchy is in a fit state to be handed on to Prince William, and that will be his modus operandi going forward.
Despite facing heavy criticism and working as a threadbare institution, King Charles and his family have shown the public a different side, one that could have a huge impact on their future.
These last 3 months have been a bit unreal, a bit uncontrollable and uncomfortable for the royal family. Something has happened, and we don't know where that will lead. It's an interesting point in their history.
This is a watershed moment for the royal family and indeed the institution. The era of never complain, never explain should be banished now. People respect them more for being more open, and they think that that is something to be applauded.
It's getting increasingly difficult to be a monarch and to be a person. At the moment, we have a king who clearly has prepared for the job, who wants to do the job, but who as a man in his 70s is not going to be there forever. His son appears to have a conflicted relationship with his brother and reservations himself about the extent to which he wants to assume a public role.
It's a real tough high wire act for them. The thing is, what happens next time? Will the royal family retreat and go back to their old familiar no comment, no explanation routine, or will they demonstrably show that they're going to carry on being open about things? Only time will tell.
This act of worship reminds me of the pledge I made at the beginning of the coronation service, not to be served, but to serve. That I have always tried to do and continue to do with my whole heart.